Hi, within this section, we're going to learn how to stay anonymous when we go online. And before we do that, we need to understand how networks work actually in order to comprehend better what we are doing. So let me tell you all about it. So suppose that you're in your home and you're connected to your router. So you have different phones or tablets or computers in your home, right? And they're all connected to the router and they are all connecting to the internet through that router. And when you go to the internet and search for anything in Google, for example, you're sending a request from your phone to your router, and router forwards this request to the internet and gets back a response and forwards that response to your device. So this device has some local IP like 192.168.0.10, and this IP is assigned to that device by router actually. As you can see, every device has its own local IP, and router has its own local IP like 192.168.0.1. But if these devices are connected to the router directly, they will have 192.168, but if they are on a NAT network, like in our case, they will have an IP of 10.02.15. This doesn't have to be necessarily that way, but this is general convention, and you will come across this situation most of the time. So if you try to get your own local IP on your own computer, you will end up with a number like this. And if you try to get the local IP from your virtual machine, you will end up with a local IP like this. But the important part is that this router has also a public IP. You may know your public IP by going to the google.com and searching for what is my IP. This is the IP address that hackers try to change when they go online. This is the IP address that you must not share with anyone. And this is the IP address you have to change when you try to go to a blocked website by your internet provider, and this is the IP that you may want to change when you try and do some penetration testing. So you're about to change the public IP using some virtual private networks within the next lectures. So VPN stands for virtual private network, and you're going to use some other server to connect to the internet and make your IP look like another. And this IP is the public IP, as I said before. You may go to Google right now and try to see your own public IP. I'm not going to show you mine, but I can show you my local IP, and you can follow me how to learn your local IP as well. You have to go to your Kali Linux machine, for example, and if you type ifconfig here like we did before, it will show you something called ETH0, and this is your internet interface. Okay, you're connected to the internet by a wired connection, supposedly. So you're using NAT network right now, and this is a wired connection between the Kali Linux and the host machine. So host machine is actually the router at this point, and you have the IP address of 10.02.15. Of course, this number may differ in your case, but it really doesn't matter. This is your local IP. So you can try to learn your public IP, like I said, by going to google.com and searching for what is my IP. So within this section, we're going to search for ways to hide this public IP and try to go to the internet using another servers, another public IPs. So let's stop here, and within the next lecture we're going to learn how to do that.